All right, hello and welcome to the video. In this video, I'm going to discuss briefly the fact that in both Seisan and Seiunchin katas in Isshinryu karate, we have what is sometimes called combined grappling striking or combined striking for short, where we're combining a grappling maneuver with a striking maneuver, this is often called clinching in MMA and sometimes in boxing where you're not supposed to be clinching. But it's a little bit different than what most people would consider a clinch in MMA because let's talk about different ranges of clinches. The first clinch range is where you can reach your opponent's wrist, but they can't reach back to hit you. All right, so you're at an elongated clinch, and you may have caught hold of one or both of their wrists, and you can perhaps drag them down into a front knee strike or a front thrust kick from there. All right. That's your elongated clinch, and I love that fighting distance. I want to be right there where I can grab their wrist if possible. The next range is you can grab into their elbows, perhaps placing your thumb in the small of their elbows so that you cause some pain to them and partially disable their arms. And from here, you can deliver knee strikes because there's actually a pressure point inside your elbow right here, which won't tap somebody out, but will disable their arm partially. Okay. Um, the next range is close enough to grab them by the shoulders or the neck and drag their head or their body into a knee strike. All right. And so then you got just directly grabbing the head and dragging the head into an elbow strike, for example, was another type of clinch, the Naihanchi clenched elbow. All right. That's in Naihanchi kata. But what's in Seisan and to a lesser extent Seiunchin is a clinch where you've thrown a punch and then you block a counter punch that's coming. Because a lot of times the same side hook punch, when you throw a straight punch, the other guy's going to throw a same side hook punch to try to beat your standing guard. All right, or an overhand. You're going to block the overhand or the hook punch and grapple their arm and drag them into your next strike, which is here. All right, so you might be punching to the throat in a street self-defense situation. You might be punching to the solar plexus. You might be punching to the face. All right. Um. In Seiunchin kata, which is the kata that Daniel LaRusso does in the middle of the point sparring competition in Karate Kid 3 movie, there's a point where you're in the Seiunchin stance and you block out here, and then you grab and you pull and you punch. All right, and then you smash their arm or leg that you grappled. Um, I don't find Seiunchin to be that useful of a kata because the primary stance, Seiunchin stance in the kata, is probably the least practical stance for fighting from a standing position. Most of the time, you're only going to use that stance if you've already got your opponent grounded and you're trying to punch or kick them on the ground. Because kicking a standing target out of a Seiunchin stance is absurdly hard, even when you're in really good shape, as I was 25 years ago. Because it is the deepest stance in Isshinryu. And then I'm like, well, if I'm not going to be using kicks, what's the point in even studying karate? You may as well be studying boxing or something because you can't really kick from Seiunchin stance. So I never used Seiunchin stance in sparring, not even once in my life. I'm not joking. So with thousands of hours of full contact sparring. So, and again, I won almost every sparring match I ever had. By the time I started to be second degree brown belt, from then forward, I won every sparring match I ever had. Um, uh, but at any rate, there are moves in other places in kata, such as in Seiunchin kata. You have the double palm heels. One goes high and one goes low. The high one can perhaps be to the face, and the low one can perhaps be to the groin, where you're going to do a grappling maneuver and grip them by the groin and grab and throw over your shoulder and dunk their head on the pavement, hopefully, if it's a street fight. Um, and believe me, that if you did that to another man, that would end the fight, grabbing them by the groin and pretty much leveraging them up by the groin and throwing them and dunking their head into the pavement is going to end any fight. Um, when I was in either late 7th grade or early 8th grade, the first time I was taking karate, and I was either a late yellow belt or an early orange belt, I forget, but probably a late yellow belt, like a two-stripe yellow belt or something like that. And so by then I knew, whatever, 8, 10, 15 submissions, maybe. And all of my basic hand strikes and kicks and knees and stuff like that. And there was a school bully who kept pestering me and beating me up and stuff. And one day I finally got it in my head I take karate to defend myself, and he threw two punches at me, and I blocked the second one. I counterattacked him to the solar plexus, counterattacked him to the face, and then I threw him over my shoulder, and he landed in the gravel pavement. And put it this way, even though we both got in trouble for fighting, quote unquote, I actually got blamed for it, even though I did not start it. The principal just flat out blamed me for what the other kids started, and but he never once messed with me for the rest of grade junior high or high school. Matter of fact, he stayed at least 100 feet away from me from all the way through senior year in high school. He never once messed with me again. Um, so it was worth it. All right, so what else to do? So if I had a demonstration partner, which I don't, but if I did, I could show some techniques that I can't show by myself. But I'm drawing a blank, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video for right now. But I think I covered what I wanted to talk about. Plus, this is already getting to 6, 7 minutes long. So thank you for watching.